Welcome to the video about my finished February works. Let's start from Ivy. When I thought which page in Ivy I want to do this month, I remembered about St. Valentine's Day and I selected Spread with Heart. Here I really love these round flowers. I think that they are very lovely. And from the beginning I decided that I want to test color palette where there will be a lot of blue colors, from relatively intense blue to light blue colors, and as additional colors I decided to use various shades of pink, magenta, process red. Here I used mostly Prismacolor pencils, but as additional colors I used Inktense, so this vibrant blue, it's Derwent Inktense, and for lighter shades on the background I used Kohinoor Mondeluz, also water-soluble pencil. They work with Derwent Inktense perfectly when you need to get some pastel shades. So finally I used my Derwent Inktense somewhere. I definitely need to color something only with these pencils. But let's return to this page. I decided that for the butterfly I will use this golden color. Through the whole book, usually I color ink a butterfly with shades of blue, but here blue butterfly would be lost. So this time I decided to actually read a story, and it was mentioned that Ivy saw a golden glimpse of butterfly wings, and I decided to use it for my coloring. I think that it's quite lovely, mostly because I love color palette which I used for the spread. I decided that I can use this reverse idea. Here we have dark frame and light area in the center area with the text, and here we have light background. I decided that I don't want to add anything, and image in the center. Probably my most creative idea was to add this lace edge to the heart, because I didn't know how to finish it. I needed something to emphasize the shape of the heart, and I think that I managed to do it nicely. Next one, it's Teresa Goodrich, and the whole February I dedicated to Wish You Were Here. I realized that the book was totally abandoned during the last year, and I wanted to make this imaginary travel during February. In this book I managed to visit several countries. The first one wasn't very successful. It's beautiful Santorini island with its famous blue domes and white buildings, but those buildings, they were extremely difficult to color, but also extremely difficult to film. My old camera totally refused to show this light shading, all the shades of cream, nectar, light gray colors which I tried to use for the shading. So even if picture is not so bad, coloring process wasn't easy. Also I struggled a lot with this beautiful tree. Too many flowers, too many black lines, so I can't say that I'm totally happy with the final look of this page. In the end I simply wanted to finish it somehow, so several color choices wasn't the best, like color for these umbrellas. Maybe now I would use something else. Maybe this yellow color would be better to keep this vibrant blue only for the sky and water area and for the blue domes. But well, anyway, I am glad that I did it, because in the very beginning when I just got the book I was sure that I won't be coloring it, mostly because I didn't like the shape of this tree. Next one, it was Egypt. Here I decided to combine Prismacolor pencils and Arctic pencils, mostly because Arctics, and together with Derwent color softs also, they have interesting shades of beige. Honestly, I dislike beige from Prismacolor. For me, it has peachy undertone and shades of beige in Arctics and shades of beige and sand colors in Derwent Colorsoft. They are really nice. Also here I used a little bit of acrylic gouache in green color because sometimes black lines, especially on the lips, they were too thick. Maybe I had to cover the rest of lines here also. I decided to use slightly more vibrant yellow for the sandstone for the sphinx and more grayish beige shades for the pyramid behind. So in such way I tried to make at least a small difference in color. And of course the most pleasurable part was to color. When I colored camels, I deliberately decided that at least their blankets will be vibrant, and I selected classical color combo of red, blue and yellow. Very simple, but again, sometimes it's nice to color simple pictures. And yeah, it's totally possible to use Arctics here, maybe as a secondary set, but very helpful when you want to save your more precious pencils and not to color backgrounds with Prismacolors. Next, I have this Summer Retreat, this Tropical Paradise. This one I definitely love. I think that it's a nice work. I love wooden texture, which I did on the floor, on the columns, on the roof, and various shades of greens, which I used everywhere. In the beginning I thought that maybe it's too much to use green for curtains, green everywhere for the lips, but I think that it helped me to create this tropical atmosphere. And I'm glad that I decided to use more turquoise blue for water, another nice touch to show that it's something exotical, something tropical, very relaxing. And here I really love this bouquet with lilies. And finally, another romantic page, and probably my favorite in finished works in this book during February. It's this romantic picnic in Paris. I decided to make atmosphere of a romantic evening, so that's why I did this dark violet sky and clouds, and I needed this dark background to show lights and sparkles on Eiffel Tower. I think that it always look quite nice when we have dark background and then those reflections of warm yellow around lanterns on the bridgestone pavements. So it's a trick which always look quite successful. Here probably mostly I suffered with water, dark evening river water. It's really very difficult for me, so I can't say that it's perfect, but I hoped that very dark shadow near the river bank and bright reflection of the Eiffel Tower in the water, it will help me somehow to show the surface of water. At least here I didn't need to show any waves because Sena is quite calm river. Here I think that I managed to show nicely folds on the fabric of the tablecloth. Grape is so, but the whole composition, especially wine and baguettes, they definitely have this nice French vibe of a romantic picnic. So I'm really quite satisfied with this work. I think that it was the best what I could do with this page. Sometimes it's frustrating that in this book many black lines are really very thick, and I really struggle with masking them. I don't want to leave them, but to mask them it's really time consuming. I tried to mask them with Posca, I tried to mask them with acrylic paint, gouache paint. Well, I really wish that next books by Teresa they would be made with more delicate line art. In her first books, line art was more delicate, but style was a little bit more sketchy, unkept. So I preferred line art there, but I didn't like style. Here compositions style is better, but lines are so thick that sometimes it's really frustrating. Okay, let's have a look at this very interesting and at the same time a very cheap book. You know that I love history, I love to color dresses, I love to color metals, armor and other things which we can find in historical books. So that's the Livre coloring book for children. It's double-sided, it's extremely cheap, but it was created by a very talented artist. I think that John Green, he created for Livre so many beautiful books. I wish they printed them in normal quality, one-sided at least, because they deserve to be colored by adult artists. Despite the double-sided printing, paper isn't bad. Surprisingly, this page I managed to color even with such pencils like Arctics and Derwent Color Softs. For such work as those stones or wood, where you don't need to cover everything perfectly smooth and uneven texture, maybe it's even better when you color stones, I decided to use cheaper pencils, and I think that stones, they look not bad. I really enjoy coloring fabric, so for the poor Henry VI King, I selected this interesting color combo of May green, olive green, and secondary these purple colors. I think that it looks quite lovely. And then we have the murderer, the killer. I decided that dark blue will be appropriate color. Again, it was pleasure to color metals, so very pleasant work, very easy to color in this book. I absolutely love compositions, nice faces. I decided that I don't need to complicate anything, so I used very light shading here on skin. Well, I am very satisfied. I don't think that I need to purchase any more books by John Green, but in this one I definitely intend to color more frequently. And it's also very helpful if you want to repeat to remind yourself some parts of English history. Next, of course, Matchstick Mouse. Well, sometimes I color it when I am so tired that I'm not able to color something more complicated, but coloring here always helps me to relax, and I'm very happy that recently Morgan published the new book. For me, that this new book, as far as I saw in reviews, it's the best. Very interesting with traveling theme and also with many new characters, many new adorable animals. And it pushed me into doing more pictures in my existing books. If I want to purchase new books, I think that old books deserve to be colored more frequently. So in February, I did this adorable company. All our heroes are here. Very simple. Again, I remember that I was extremely tired that day, so a very simple sky, very simple leaves, but together they look so lovely. They definitely warmed my heart to see all the company together. Next, I did this a rainy day, but Matchstick Mouse still enjoys her time because she has a lot of new friends, those snails, and of course my lovely worm always presented here. As usual, I struggle how to do nice rainy background. This time I decided to use first a couple of shades of blue to make the background, and then gray blue for some of the drops and vibrant white for some of the drops which are closer to us. I hope that it adds some depth to the rainy background. Next one helped me to dream a little bit about summer vacations somewhere on the seashore, and here our company collect shells. I already did one page with bigger shell, and so I think that here they continue their collecting. And finally, page which I wanted to color, but I was a little bit afraid how to color the seagull. Then I used several shades of warm and cool gray Prismacolor pencils together. So I think that even in this childish style, the seagull looks nice. I don't understand what they are trying to do here. Maybe a seagull tried to eat some seeds, and Magic Mouse maybe wants one for herself. I don't know, but the whole page is lovely. Well, so that was my book for relaxed coloring. In February, I managed to do at least one winter picture. It was in Wild Winter by Bank. Surprisingly, I looked again at all pictures here and I realized that many of them I can color during the whole year. They are not totally connected to the ice, winter, so I hope that I will continue to color in this book. In February, I did this quite simple but a very significant, a very interesting picture. It's nest of this beautiful bird. I deliberately wanted to play on the contrast between warm colors on the baby birds, on the birds' feathers, with cold colors which I used everywhere for the night sky, for the eyes, even for those crystals. It's as usual Ohuhu markers, then pencils. I think that it's nice. I really think that exactly what I imagined, how I wanted to color it. So I managed to do it just like it was in my imagination. This work is definitely on my top list for February works. Unfortunately, in Voyage, where I selected page with quite interesting beetle, I wasn't so successful. I don't know why, but in Voyage I have constant problems with filming. A page which looks nice in real life with quite smooth gradient on the background, which I did on markers with quite nice bark. When I film it, it has strange colors. It has much more rough borders between those colors on the background. I had the same problem with my first page, which I did here. When I did this autumn page with pumpkins, I re-edited this video 5 times probably, and still colors, I wasn't able to catch the right shade of these colors when I filmed the coloring process. The same was here. After 3 attempts to re-edit video, I totally abandoned this idea, so I wasn't very happy. But the look of this page, I think that it's interesting. Maybe I used too many colors. Now I think that maybe lesser amount of colors, the same color for the mushrooms, or maybe different color for her dress, maybe it would be better. But the look of this quite exotic beetle, I think that it's really interesting. I'm proud of myself how I combined black, Tuscan red here, how I managed to add some highlights so all parts of the beetle's body are nicely visible. Very interesting. Fantasy of Joseph Kettenbank, it's crazy, inspiring, crazy, interesting. Look at this back of the beetle where it has some flowers inside. Very interesting to color, but somehow for me very difficult to film. Well, so just now I look at it and I am quite pleased how it's look. But when I remember all my struggle with coloring process, it's like put this book on the shelf and make yourself some break for a couple of months. But of course, Voyage is one of the best books in the series, so I hope that very soon I will return to it. And the third work which I managed to color for the Love Theme, together with Heart in Ivy and Romantic Picnic in Teresa Goodrich, I finally colored Romeo and Juliet. This page was my favorite since I saw the first reviews of Colorless Kingdom. And of course, when I got the book, I looked at it, I admired all details on the art, this Italian landscape, and they also look beautiful, their faces, their clothes, all those medieval style jewelry, very nice. So finally I decided that I am ready to do this page, and I think that everything in the end worked well. When I just started to color her dress, I thought that maybe I made a mistake. Here I used Derwent Color Soft because of quite unique pale mint and mint colors which are available in the set. In the end, they worked quite well with cobalt turquoise, deep cobalt, which I used as a second fabric on upper part of her dress. I know that I tend to repeat myself in colors of dresses. That's why I decided to try something new, to use pencils from different set. And I think that in the end, this green and this wine red for his costume, they work nice together. I wanted to leave them as the most vibrant element of the composition, so for the landscape behind, I deliberately tried to select very soft pastel colors, and here Ohuhu markers were extremely helpful. I don't know why on this thin paper I can do nice gradients. So if you look closer, I have here a gradient from pink into lavender and blue colors. But when I try to do similar thing in also thin paper in witches, for example, their result is totally awful. Well, good for me, because this book is really one of my favorites, and I'm very happy that markers help me to do quick backgrounds. Coloons, they are also made with Ohuhu markers, another big plus of Ohuhu, though their interesting gray shades. Red, gray, violet gray colors in Ohuhu, they are very helpful, very unique, so I'm so happy that I have a set of them, and they help me to do those backgrounds quickly. I think that everything here worked really well. I can't wish that I changed something here. Maybe if I had matching color of marker to make some lines on her dress, maybe it would look a little bit more light. But apart from this small detail, I think that everything else looks okay, so I am very pleased with this work. I try to maintain my promise to do a work from this book each month. It's a book about zodiac signs, and first I thought that maybe I will color each month sign which is currently on horoscope, but I realized that, well, it's difficult for me. I better color in random order, just pictures which are more inspiring for me. So in February, I somehow selected a page from Cancer part, but here everything started from color combo which I wanted to test for the background. It's turquoise blue together with ultramarine violet. I wanted to use them somewhere, so I simply looked through all pages and I thought where I can use them. And I thought that nice third color could be olive green. When I saw this page where I can do background and then to use olive green for the leaves, it was perfect match. First I thought about doing her with ginger hair, but in the end I decided to use something more unusual, so now she has this beautiful violet curls, and this color created good contrast to the cancer. Somehow that was the most unpleasant detail to color, but the rest of it I do love. In this book I mostly prefer to color with polychromos pencils, but other medias also worked well here. Polychromos mostly work well for skin tones. Maybe it's not visible on screen, but I also added a little bit of pearl watercolor. It's on these leaves which decorate her dress, and also for the moon, which was slightly confusing in the end. I didn't know how to color it, but in the end, when I looked at this pearl blue watercolor, it was the best choice. It's still visible, but in the same time it doesn't distract attention from the lady. I think that her face and her posture is one of the most interesting in the whole book, so I'm glad that I did this one. And the last book which I colored in February was a total surprise even for myself. I hadn't touched this book during previous 2 or 3 years, and that's a great return of Zemlya Snova or Dorosłych by Tomislav Tomic. Well, I was afraid, but I wanted to return to this book as my first project, and it means that in February I managed to finish 2 pictures here. So as my first project I selected this mushroom house. Relatively easy page. Here I wanted to keep as the most vibrant color those strawberries and strawberry fairy, but in the end I think that my mushroom house turned into the focal point, and those strawberries, they are slightly lost. Apart from it, it wasn't bad. I enjoyed doing the mushroom, where I mostly used Prismacolors. But somehow I realized that I forgot how Prismacolors behave here, that they glide a little bit too much over the surface, and it was a little bit difficult to color small elements. So when I started to do background, leaves and flowers and the background, I started to use Prismacolors together with polychromoses. For me, polychromoses were easier to use here, so the whole page it's a mix of 2 blends. There are better areas, there are maybe less successful areas, but as a first project after several years, I consider it as a success. But when I decided to do the next page, I decided to stay with polychromoses only, and it was the right decision, because this entrance to the fairy castle I love more comparing to the previous page. Maybe let me lay it flat. Here everything is colored with polychromos pencils. Even if at the beginning I wasn't sure if I managed to color all the stoneworks with polychromoses. I don't have the full set of warm and cool polychromos gray pencils. I have only several of them, but in the end I think that everything looks quite nice. I deliberately decided that I don't want to add background. When I did my color planning, first I thought about dark blue background, then about maybe soft pastel blue or soft pastel yellow background, but in the end I decided sometimes it's better to keep it in easier way, and white paper created good contrast to the vibrant red heart frame. And well, what can I say? I was happy. I enjoyed process with polychromos pencils much more comparing to the first page. And you know what? I think that I am ready to return to Tomislav Tomic. Maybe my next work will be in Zemlya Snova, because there I also I miss this book, and maybe I enjoy art there even more comparing to Zemlya's Nova. And another very helpful moment was that these books, they lost their popularity, and now we don't see finished works from these books very frequently, so it stopped to press on my mind. I was sure that I don't copy anything, that my ideas are my own, that I don't see others' work and I think that, oh, it's so beautiful, I never will be able to do something as beautiful, so why would I start to color this page? Now it's more calm, more relaxed, and yeah, I really appreciate how precise are pictures by Tomislav Tomic. If you have some line, if you have some architectural elements, you could be sure that it's very nicely calculated where it's visible, where it has a beginning, it start. When I color Teresa Goodrich, sometimes some lines, they are unfinished drops and you have to correct something. Here everything is very precise. I think that I need to experiment more, maybe to use more aligners, felty pens for smaller details to make even more accurate coloring. But I think that this one I definitely can call as one of my best February works. I decided to use similar colors for the butterflies and fairy. Maybe it's just another form on fairies. Or maybe she's a keeper of those butterflies. We can imagine a lot of interesting stories behind each of Tomislav Tomic pictures, and that's why I love this book. So it was a great return. Now I'm so happy that in the end of the year, if I do review of all my finished works, finally I won't be ashamed to show Zemlya's Nova and to say, oh, once again this year it was abandoned. No, I returned to it and I am pleased with my finished works. Thank you for watching. February wasn't long, but I am quite satisfied with the amount of quality of pictures which I finished. And of course, I am totally ready to start color pictures with flowers. So that's what I intend to do in March. I would love to start some of my books in March because I still have a lot of untouched books. So I hope that some new books, some old books, and some spontaneous choices. That's what I will do in March. Thank you for watching, and I will return to you with my March projects very soon.